you got a guy that's been hit 4 times, I mean, wait a minute.
In a year.
Not in jail.
I don't mean 4 times in his life.
Yeah.
I mean in a year 4 times.
He should have lost his license the second time at least.
Well, and that's, again, I go back to the punitive nature of things. Stop DWI is extremely punitive. Yes, I'll be the first person to say sometimes things seem to be going overboard. You've got $1,000 fine, it could be. You've got an installed ignition interlock device, which could cost the person $100 a month. They're gonna lose their driver's license. They could get a victim impact panel, the defensive driver program. It all adds up after a while. The
The
idea,
insurance is gonna double.
you'd think it would, but that takes years to catch up.
It doesn't really take that long. Really?
It seems like the guys I see driving around.
They don't have insurance.
The other problem is, yeah, they don't have insurance.
Well, right, a lot of times
They
they don't,
drive anyway.
but they, you know,
And I haven't been able to track
That
my,
reminds me of the story you told us, where the guy shows up for his alcohol counseling, drove himself there drunk without a license. They call Scott and said, look, this guy's here, he's drunk, we think he drove himself. He's surprised when he gets his probation revoked.
right. Now, I had a,
It's like,
the ignition interlock device, what happened was when that came in 2010, that brought a whole new element to everything. And it made defense attorneys kind of tighten up a little bit more and fight a little bit harder because they don't want their defendants to have this device installed in their car because it's very costly. $100 to get installed, $100 to get it monitoring the month. But unfortunately, I can tell you from experience, I think the only people that own a car in Delaware County are sitting in this room because none of these DWI defenders own a car. They all come in and say, nope, I don't own a car. It was my friend's car, it was my mother's car, it was my roommate's car, all kinds of nonsense like that. The few people that have had the device installed, and I could probably count in the last, since the program started in 2010, on 2 hands, how many people actually had a device installed. It has worked very well. I had a woman who was at BCC and she tested positive. She was .09 at 8 o'clock at night. And every 10 minutes she took another test and the car wouldn't start for her. Until it went down about 11:45, she finally was sober enough to drive that car home. And when I called her the next day to find out where she was at the DDP program, trying to get her license back. And she was .09 in the program. And that's my point though, these people are not getting the help and really the monitoring and supervision they need to say, look, you gotta stop this. You can't give somebody a 1-year CD, say don't drink anymore and go to treatment, and then nobody knows whether they did it or not.
they don't follow.
If there's, you have a sympathetic board here, I can promise you that, because we've talked about this in this room before, and like Al mentioned, we had the judge here and we talked to him about it. If there's something specific that we can do, I'll advocate for it. I think I'm glad you said it's embarrassing. I feel like it's embarrassing too. I hate the fact that we're ranked so low with conviction rates. And I know other people who have done what I think are lesser things, who have, lost their licenses and car taken away. So, at least, I guess I should speak for myself. You have an advocate here, if there's something that I can do.
And I don't, again, I've known Judge Gumo a long time. He's very supportive of the probation department. I don't think it's Judge Gumo or any judge particularly. I think it's a systemic issue. The prosecutors feel that they don't have the time to deal with these cases in court. They're overwhelmed, especially with all the drug stuff going on. They have 27 indictments lined up for drug dealing. And the DA's sitting there going, well, how am I supposed to get all these people in? I can't get that much grand jury time combined. Then all that kind of flows down to the 2 ADAs. I think there's a lot of problems that kind of have made it a bigger problem. And I'm not saying it right because I can't really get a grasp on it either. But I think we need to really kind of step back, and the court system needs to step back, and the prosecutors need to step back and start looking at what they're doing and say, who am I really helping out here? Why are we helping out the person that's got 4 DWIs? The person has 1 DWI. Look at their circumstance. Odds are that is not the first time they drove drunk. I've had many people come in on probation interviews where they look at me and go, first time I ever drove drunk. And I said, you are the most unlucky human being that's ever walked this planet, and aren't you? Because the studies have shown that they drive drunk about 200 times for every time they've been caught.
Wow.
I think that was a study they did in Nevada where they did checkpoints and they didn't arrest the person, they just took them away and got them to kind of help them. But 200 times is ridiculous. I mean, Delaware County's population is about 47,000 people. We should have many more arrests and many more convictions than that. And I won't sit here and say that the arrests are down and the convictions are down. Yay, I'm doing a great job to stop the DUI coordinator. I'm going to look at it and go, you know what? We're not really finding where these people are, and we're not really dealing with them appropriately.
I feel like we're not dealing with it appropriately. I believe that
a little more accountable when they come in front of the judge.
And this is, I don't claim to have answers, but I think it'd be interesting if the SAD chapters were addressing it. You know, I know that's a big
It's a
thing.
big ask for kids.
Yeah,
But they're the vocal ones that can do that, you know.
it would be hard for
Right.
it.
And that's
Yeah,
why I
yes,
wanna
I-
throw the money to SAD chapters for what I can, to say, look, get out there and get your voice, you know, get your voice heard, and let people know, you're not gonna tolerate this stuff. You're not, cause it's your friends that are gonna die, and nobody wants to do that, nobody wants to see anybody die in a DWI accident. But these are the kids, they carry a lot more weight than just me stopping my feet. I do it every month, Mark knows, and I do it at different meetings, and I go to social, community groups to speak. And I'm just one guy, but if I can get 1,000 kids to raise their voice, maybe that'll change something.
I think that would be exciting. I think it would work.
I'm really hoping the press comes to our function later this month.
Well, I know you also talked about, trying to tie some funding for the DA's office
Mhm.
to the DWI program.
Right now,
Stipulation that if it's a DWI arrest, that's what they get prosecuted for.
right now, I
It's
give the
not
DA's office about $10,000 a year, and that's a pittance in a budget. They used to get significantly more money than that, and when they got more money than that, they convicted at a much higher rate. There was 116 convictions the last year they did that, and that was the year they had, I think, $148,000 in revenue. If, the idea of the program is it's self-sustaining, so if we can make enough money at it, we'd be able to put a person in that position that can pay for those things to be done. That would be nice. And-
Basically, they're cutting their own throats by doing it.
Right.
Anti-productive.
Yeah, they might be, but the fact is, people are gonna drive drunk. You're not gonna stop them, we're never gonna have zero, so if we do have zero, then we're not doing anything. You know, if we can get the money out there and we can get the people out there to make some change, then we'll do it.
I have a question.
Sure.
Whose responsibility is it really to see the follow-up, like if they're supposed to go for treatment or not? I mean, where does that fall back on?
If they're on
It sounds like
probation,
that's where
yeah,
the-
if they're on probation, we do it, that's what the probation department does, but we don't get people on probation like we used to, because, it's another fight for the defense attorney to say, no, my guy's not gonna use probation stuff, he only has 2, or he only has 3, or something like that. If it's conditional discharge, the judges and the courts are supposed to get releases of information signed, and they should be following up with the agencies where they're making the referrals to. Whether they are or not, I don't know, because I don't have the authority to look at the conditional discharges. All I can do is look at it within the scope of the commissioner interlock. I do make phone calls to say, just so you know, this person has this requirement, you're supposed to do it to the alcohol and drug clinic, because I can do that. It's a criminal conviction, but, it's up to those, the alcohol and drug clinic or whatever treatment facility is and the court to communicate. I don't know if the alcohol and drug clinic director, he spoke before the magistrate's meeting, he explained that that was an issue. They were not getting the communication they needed from the courts.
Because I know kids that get community service for things report back to the judge.
Right.
And I know there's a report back and forth.
And my agency does
For
community
that.
service also, and the single biggest community service driven, population is Delhi Town Court. We get 80% of our cases from this court, and we are at a 96% success rate, which means 96% of those people successfully completed it. We find good placements for them around here, the Legion, some of the churches, the cemeteries, but I think the problem is because I've got a guy that calls those kids, a lot of them are college students, and he gets them in there, and he makes sure they do it, and if they don't do it, we get them back in here in front of the judge. But I think that's what is missing from the conditional discharge with the DWI. There's not a lot of follow-up on it. And maybe I'm wrong about that, because I don't hear about it as much, but from the courts certainly. But from my perception, I don't know how you can have 4 DWIs in a year. I mean, nothing's happened to you so far. That doesn't make sense to me. And that wasn't in this court, that was in 3 courts from, the other side of the county, from the western part of the county. So, 3 different courts, 4 different DWI charges, and where are we going with it? I think he's going to county court now, though. Judge Becker has started a DWI court, but meets every other Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. He is actively, I have started to see more things coming from that court, because he is starting to finally get some things from the lower courts. If he doesn't get lower court action, then he can't deal with those felonies.
Did you have a question?
I did, if it's okay. Are there enough placements for treatment in the county that people can get to?
There's an alcohol and drug clinic in Hampton, that's the primary place that, as probation, that's where we send everybody, and I believe that's where all the courts send people for referrals. There are many private providers that do this also.
So there's plenty of
Yes.
treatment available if people can get there.
Yeah, the Alcoholism Council here in Delhi does a lot of different programs. They do a lot of the education stuff that I wanna bring to the schools. They are also resources as far as finding other, treatment facilities also. Somebody who's in Davenport, they certainly could go to CDC in Oneonta if that's easier. But there are different places that they can go to. And we found pretty good success with sending people to alcohol and drug. They do pretty good work down there. Long-term success, that's harder to measure, but, I know on probation, I can tell you that we test them rigorously, at least once a week. You know, once they've been on and they've been shown some sobriety and some stability, maybe once a month we'll test them after a while. We go in their houses, we look for alcohol, we confiscate it if we see it and arrest them if they are in possession of it. We go into bars and check on them there. I was at my wife's class reunion here at the Shire the other day. I never felt so nervous in my life. One of her friends looked at me and said, "Why do you look like you're scared of something?" I said, "I'm just waiting to get a bottle in the back of the head." 'Cause I'm sure some of these people I've dealt with in a bad capacity. But yes, the answer to your question, that is available.
Okay.
Cost-wise, we hear that on probation all the time. I can't afford it. Well, that's not my problem. Find a way. Pick up cans, stop smoking cigarettes, you'll find a way. Right now, my fine revenue for Delaware County is the lowest it's been. We are at, about $36,000 for the year. Like I said, I'm hoping I can hit 75,000. I only budgeted expenses for 70, so I'll still have some wiggle room either way. But I have 1 quarter left to, and 36,000 is halfway point of the year, by the way. So because I haven't got my 3rd quarter revenues yet. I'm hoping I can really, things will pick up a little bit. I've had meetings with the DA's office to try to see if we can change some things. But so far it has been, I am very encouraged by the arrests last month though. 30 arrests in a month is good for this county. But I appreciate what you're saying. I wish there was something I could say, yep, you have a magic wand, wait, let's deal with it.
But we don't know where those arrests will go. I mean, they've been arrested, but we.
Oh, I have a list, I know where every arrest is made, location-wise.
No, what I mean is we don't know whether they're gonna make it
Correct.
all the way
Convict them or
through.
plead
Yeah,
it
the
out.
24, 30 arrests that were last month, yeah, I don't know what'll happen with them.
Yeah.
One of them I know was arrested and convicted actually, within 2 weeks, and, she got a DWI, so.
I mean, it just seems to me, I can understand somebody gets hit the first time, okay, you know, maybe it was a extenuating circumstance, and if you don't learn from that, there's something wrong with you. you
Right,
know.
yeah,
But when you got 2, 3, 4, it's like, well, hold on,
right,
this person does not learn, there has to be something else happening here. They either have to go to jail, they certainly have probably lost their license at least by now, but obviously if they wanna drive, they get in the car and they go anyway.
right.
You know, but there should be some monitoring, there should be something that forces that person into some kind of rehabilitation, forced rehabilitation of some kind.
And I don't know what, for example, the Delhi Town Court docket is like over the course of the day. I don't know how many cases they deal with. But certainly I know
Be a lot.
when I have come in here, Kathy's busy. I mean, she's running all over doing everything, and the DA's busy meeting with all the defense attorneys, and this room is usually packed with people. So from that perspective, I can certainly see where, you know, who's supposed to communicate with the facilities, when.
Right.
And you know, there are courts that don't have clerks in this county, and the judges, some of the judges still will tell me, just, you know, put it in an envelope and mail it. I don't believe in that email sorcery. I don't like that stuff. It doesn't do anybody any good. You know, that's, meanwhile, the 6th Judicial District wants everything emailed. They don't want any paper documents anymore. Yeah, there's definitely a disconnect between what should be happening and what is happening. I've been trying to raise my voice with it. I haven't been invited back to a magistrate's meeting. I don't know if that's symbolic of anything or not. The DA's actually talking to me again. That was a 6-month freeze out, but, you know, because I firmly believe that we need to change this before we have tragedy strike. And that's not something anybody wants to deal with. Bob doesn't want that on the front page of the newspaper, and I don't want it. Certainly, I want to sleep through May for a change. I don't need that.
And I know the legislative committee's trying to get some dialogue going with the DA's office too, because, like I said, I get to see it from both sides.
Yeah, right.
You know, but we gotta do something.
Judge Gumo is very supportive of our probation department. We brought a guy in tonight, a little bit after 5 o'clock for an arraignment, no problems, no issues, throw him in jail, we're good. I think that the judge's hands are somewhat tied by the deals that are arranged by the prosecutor and the defense attorney. Because no judge wants to go against those deals and then have to get it reviewed by the OCA and then get overturned and all kinds of nonsense that happens up there.
Yeah.
But the numbers, all I do, is like I tell Mark every month, all I do is read the numbers, show the numbers, and they're not pretty anymore.
Maybe we aren't last.
And will be this year. Queens County is last every year, but this year I suspect we will beat them, unfortunately. Nothing to be proud of.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's why I had you come.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to come back whenever you want,
Information,
and I can give you updates, you know, periodically, 6-month updates or yearly updates on where. I mean, I can drill down and get specific court information for what Delhi Town Court is doing as far as the number of cases they deal with, number of arrests that Delhi Village Police do. I can get all that. I don't do it now because I don't feel like it's a specific court issue. I feel like it's a countywide issue.
You have the information on SUNY Delhi and how much they arrest?
I can get that. I can tell you off the top of my head, it's almost nobody. I get what's called the T-SLED report. DMV provides this. Every arrest that happens from DWI that falls within Delaware County, the law enforcement that cover Delaware County is coded. And I know where those codes are and which agency they go to. I can't think of any university arrests, which is one of the issues. You've got, 8,000 kids up there and a couple of fine alcohol serving establishments. Somebody's got to drive around. So I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Anybody else have any more questions for Scott?
Thanks for,
No, thank you.
comments, guys.
Thanks for
No,
coming.
thank you for having me. Like I said, if you want anything else, I'm at the probation department. Feel free to call me, and Mark will, I'm sure, keep you tuned in on what I complain about once a month.
We'll keep you up to date.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
All right,
Didn't hear from them.
All right, moving on, approval of the September 9th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 9th.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm for it.
Good. What we'll do is move on to resolution number 3, which is a resolution that's saying that the town board has determined there's not gonna be any adverse environmental impacts from adopting a local law to override the tax levy limit. I guess if we don't count the trees we had to kill to do all the paperwork, we should be able to agree to say it's not gonna kill the environment. That's our first step for this. So we have a motion to approve resolution number 3.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3.
And is there a second?
I can second it.
Okay. And Nancy, you can call the roll.
Okay, Mark,
Yes?
Pat,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, now moving on to resolution number 4. To accept a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in general municipal law and schedule a public hearing for same. It's more of the same, this is the second step.
I will move this resolution for adoption.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Nancy, call the
Mark?
roll. Yes?
Pat,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
thank you.
Now, let's see, resolution 5.
That has nothing to do with this,
Has
it's a
nothing to do
totally
with this.
separate.
Why don't we move on to resolution number 6, we'll come back to
Okay.
number 5. Resolution number 6 is the adoption of local law number 1 of 2014, entitled Local Law to Override the Tax Levy Limit Established in General Municipal Law 3-Z. Is there a motion to accept resolution number 6?
Make that motion.
And is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Well, Nancy's got to call the roll on
Okay.
it.
Mark,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Al.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So what was the difference between 4 and 6?
The number.
4,
Just about.
let me give you the legal. Resolution number 4 is a resolution to adopt a local law to override. Resolution 3 was the environmental impact. Resolution 6 is a resolution to adopt local law number 1 of 2014. You've got to do a resolution to do a resolution, basically. It's a stupid,
Right, and normally that's when the public hearing is set, it would have been done at a previous meeting.
yeah, that was one of those, we discussed it at, we set the public hearing for tonight. And we discussed that at one of the budget meetings, which was one of those, we almost got the cart ahead of the horse, I guess, but.
So was the public hearing held tonight on this law advertised?
Yes.
Required?
Yes. My understanding, it doesn't have to, they tell me the resolution doesn't have to be adopted before you can schedule a public hearing, you just have to mention the public hearing in the resolution and prove that you held the public hearing. So, paperwork. I wish we could say we're not gonna go over the cap, but it's not looking good. Let's see, then that brings us up to adopting local law number 1 for 2014.
And that's the local law one.
That's the local law that,
Yeah,
Make a local law.
yeah,
which we already approved to do.
No wonder
local law,
nothing gets
and
done
then
in
this
New York
is-
State.
yeah, you gotta.
I said, no wonder nothing gets done in New York
You
State, takes
got
too
it.
long to get to the point to
To-
do something,
that's
forgot what
right.
you were doing when you get there.
You've gotta pass
So we really-
pass a resolution to write a law.
To write, yeah, so we've actually approved the local law already, and this is a copy of what it is, right?
Well, no,
I think.
Well, now we
No,
have
we
to
approved-
actually
we approved
to do it.
drafting the local law. Now we have to approve the local law, which is resolution, that's not a
It's
resolution.
local law
This
number
is-
1.
Yeah, this is just a
For
vote to adopt
2014.
local law number 1 for
Okay.
2014.
I thought now we're adopting it. I mean,
This is adopting the actual law that gets filed
Yes, okay,
with the state.
whatever.
And this is effective, this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State.
Right.
Okay. So do we wanna vote on this too?
We have to, but it doesn't hurt to do it.
I mean, we can do it now, we can wait till the next meeting.
even if we don't,
Even if we stay under the cap, we can approve this and not use it,
And not use it, right,
which is better than needing it
and
and
not
not
having it, right,
And the timeline beating us.
Yeah,
right.
that's
This
what
way
they
it's
run
done
the process
if we
with,
need
the
it.
timelines. That's why you kinda,
Budget.
you gotta kinda run the cart ahead of the horse through this whole process, because we still don't even have some of our final numbers yet.
Right.
So what's the pleasure of the board? You wanna wait?
Well, no, I actually think we've already done this. I was just reading this,
That's what I think that last
and the last
resolution,
one did it.
I think that last resolution
That's right, it was, resolution number 6 was adopted.
was six,
Yeah.
was
that's
adopting
right.
this local law, so
That's right.
Yeah.
This is
Adopted
just a-
local law number 1, so by doing 6, we
we
already,
Doing
already
six, we
did
took
one.
care of
But
that,
this is a
okay.
copy of the
Yeah.
law
that's the law.
for this.
We're good?
We're good. Alright. Now, moving back, resolution number 5, resolution to authorize application for funds from the Justice Court Assistance Program. The judge wants to be able to apply for some grant money.
make a motion to approve resolution 5.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, wanna call the roll, Nancy?
Sure. Mark,
Yes.
Al,
Yes?
Matt,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Yeah, that has to be in tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Committee report, I guess highway, we've kinda hit most all of that.
Yep.
Anything else? Or is that
No, I think those were the main things we had to do.
Health and youth, Matt?
The 5210 program that was piloted in Delhi, which was about healthy lifestyles choices for kids and, well, for everyone, but it was targeting kids. That program ended and the pilot period ended, and we decided that we're gonna roll it into what I'm gonna start having health and youth open committee meetings for the town. So basically, we're adopting that 5210 mentality and the people who are active in that program, and we're gonna turn it into a town activity under the Health and Youth Committee. So I'll be making a schedule for the first meeting, and it's gonna be open to the public, but it's, all the people who are active in 5210 are already aware of that, but anybody who wants to make Delhi a healthy place, actually, we're setting a really high goal of making Delhi the healthiest town in upstate New York. So, or the healthiest town to raise a kid. We're gonna come up with a beautiful slogan and make it happen. The Bulldog Run happened on Sunday, and that was a varsity club event, and it was a big success. It was a lot of fun. And I think they're probably gonna do it annually. The ice skating rink will be set up next month. Even if we don't fill it with water, we wanna get the wall set up and the stakes in the ground, because you don't wanna be hammering things in the ground when it's frozen.
Ground's frozen,
Yeah, the exciting news about the ice skating rink this year is that investments are being made to that park where the ice skating rink resides, and so there will be, the village workers have already worked on the bathroom, so there will be a heated bathroom, there will be storage for the skates and the hockey sticks and everything, so it won't be a lot of carting back and forth. There will be a light for skating at night, and it'll be on a timer, and there'll be a permanent fire pit. So these are all major upgrades, and it's gonna make it a lot more fun, and also the varsity club is talking about putting a concession stand there, probably to operate on the weekends. There was a organized hike, community hike on October 6th on our new trails, and it was a success. Christina Viafor was one of the organizers, and with Amy Beveridge. 20 people came, and as a follow-up, there's gonna be a kids hike on the trail. So people are definitely using that trail. There's a camera or some kind of mechanism that Amy Beveridge is using there, and we're gonna get a count from how many people have used it so far. We don't have that yet, but when that number comes out, I'll share it. Interesting anecdote, while we were on the hike, is it Don Harris from the beautification committee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Harris. He was telling us he'd just come back from a hiking vacation in Spain in the Pyrenees, and he had a professional guide who said, "So where do you come from?" And he told him, "I come from Delhi, New York." And the guy said, "Oh, that's where my side of the mountain took place." And a mountain expert in Europe is talking about Delhi, and now we have the trails that are named after the book My Side of the Mountain, and it's cool. Everything's coming together, and I think it's good that we're leveraging that asset, and we're known for it already. On November 8th, sorry, it's the Saturday, is the Catskill Mountain Film Festival workshops. Not the film festival itself, but the workshops. And it's an exciting event. There's a nominal fee, but it's some really professional training available right here on campus. And anybody who's interested in filmmaking definitely should be taking advantage of it, because like the industry value of the training that is offered up there by these professional trainers it's over $1,000 for sure if you try to go to something like that in the city. And what's the fee up there? For students, there's scholarships available for free for high school students.
It's $75 for all of them, $20,
For
Per.
individual things, yeah.
and then the youth workshop I think is $50.
Right. But the Delhi Telephone Company is sponsoring high school kids if they want to go. Margaretville Telephone Company is sponsoring, so no charge. I think it's gonna be well attended. That is all I want to talk about for health and youth.
Economic development and shared services.
Matt, did you guys meet when I was down?
No, we had to cancel our meeting because of two different people had scheduling conflicts, and then you were